Good evening, folks. I just wrapped up another video, and, well, you know me. It's called Brews and Views for a reason, so I might expound my views while I am drinking a few brews, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. So I grabbed a six-pack on spec that was dirt cheap. It was like $4 and change, and I was like, well, this is going to be absolutely trash beer, but what the hell, we'll grab it. If it's any good, we'll put it on the channel. So we're going to put it on the channel. Trader Joe's Simpler Times Lager Beer. Lager beer. Color me. So impressed. Because, I'm so glad you have considerations for any other beings on the planet. Simpler Times Lager Beer, 6.2 is the ABV. It is 12 fluid ounces, or 355 milliliters in the can. We have the standard Surgeon General's bullshit story warning. And Simpler Times Brewing Company out of Monroe, Wisconsin. And a smudge stamp on the bottom along with a 24 embossed on the can, but that's just the press number. And that's so they can tell where the defects are coming from. Other than that, they give us, quite literally, squadoosh. So we are looking at Minhas Craft Brewery. Hold on while I try and find something on here. Give me 1 second. So I went to their home web page, and apparently they have a satellite branch up in Calgary in Canada, but otherwise they're not super proud, apparently, of their Trader Joe's Simpler Times. So from the Trader Joe's webpage, there's no one area of our store where our commitment to value is more prevalent than any other. It's everywhere. And so it stands to reason that the beer aisle is one of those places. They have a very small beer aisle, by the way. The variety of high quality, high value beers we offer is astounding. As warmer weather approaches, you'll want an everyday beer you can count on. And we're willing to wager that Simpler Times Lager is the perfect contender. They're actually not far off, by the way. Made by a family-owned brewery in Wisconsin that's been brewing for more than 150 years, it's crisp, easy to drink, and has a well-balanced flavor that pairs swimmingly with both seafood and spicy dishes. And just like in Simpler Times, this brewer never adds any of the fillers found in some inexpensive beers. We're all for simply terrific beer at a simply terrific price. Here is to Simpler Times. I'm actually okay with that. It's not a horrible write-up. So it is made by Minhas Craft Brewery. Minhas is located in Monroe, Wisconsin. And it is owned by a brother and sister, Ravinda and Manjit Minhas. Those don't sound like Wisconsinian names. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I hear those two names, I'm not thinking cheese curds. You know what I'm saying? It is the Midwest's oldest brewery and the second oldest in the U.S. It survived the Great Depression, Prohibition, and a fire. It is currently the 18th largest craft brewery in America. Okay. The Minhas Craft Brewery produces a variety of over 233 beers, spirits, liquors, and wines. Holy jumping catfish. It's a big production facility. Products are shipped across Canada, the U.S., and 16 other countries worldwide, including Brazil, Chile, China, Colombia, Costa Rica, England, Finland, Guam, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, Norway, Panama, and Trinidad. The facility offers daily brewing tours and tastings. It also houses the largest brewery memorabilia museum in the U.S. Minhas Craft Brewery opened in 1845 as Monroe Brewing Company under the ownership of Mr. Bissinger. Since the opening, the brewery and property ownership changed hands 10 times until the Minhas siblings purchased it in 2006. Prior to the Minhas purchase, the brewery was known as the Joseph Huber Brewing Company. Upon acquisition, Ravinda and Manjit changed the name to Minhas Craft Brewery. In 2001, the brewery partnered with Nelk Entertainment Group to produce Happy Dad Hard Seltzer. Don't say I don't do my research, folks. I am this is important stuff. It's beer, man. Now, I did look to see if it popped positive for GMO or glyphosate, and it does not anywhere that I can find. To be fair, a lot of those pages haven't been updated in 3 years. But these guys bought this place in 2006. If it was going to pop, it should have popped. I'm going to assume this is safe to drink. I did buy this for, I want to say, $4 and change a 6-pack. It's not a bad price. The head is nice. She graduates well. The color is much darker than I expected. It's a lager. So in a lager, I'm expecting 2, 3, maybe 4. This is a deep, rich orange into brown. So way darker than I expected. Not usually the color I associate with lagers. That being said, if I had to SRM this, I'd say 19. Give it a 19. She's a pretty beer. She's unfiltered, so she is a bit cloudy. And of course, we are drinking out of the Luigi because it's a taster. Why the hell not? And we'll tell you that I have had 3 of these. This is the 4th. And I was pretty impressed. I was expecting this to be more like a Foxhead or a Black Label or a Rheingold. Something you just throw away and don't worry about. But no, she actually turned out to be quite good. Alright, we know the therm is off by 3. We are looking at 48.5, which would put us at 45.5. Okay. Right in that sweet spot. Now, for a beer this color, I would say 44.5 or 48 even is probably the right temp. Now, if she was really super pale straw, like a lager's supposed to be, then I would say we want to drink them more around the 38 to 40 zone, but that's just me. We are going to give her a second to warm up just a skosh. That's a Wisconsinian word I learned from a Wisconsinian woman I worked with who was an absolute doll. She was a sweetheart. Just move it a skosh. And I'm like, what the hell's a skosh? She goes, a little bit of skosh. Okay. It's one of those words you hear it and you're like, you know what, I like that. I'm going to adopt it. So you've heard me use it before and I will use it again. Head settled down a little. Looks like she might lace decently. I'm not seeing a lot of promise there, but it doesn't look bad. So, you know what time it is. Biden time. Let's get that sniffer up in there and see what's going on. Nice. So, on the nose, she's, I don't want to say rich. She's light. She smells full. It's got a nice beery aroma, clean. Would say almost floral. almost. Not floral like flowery, but floral like a vegetable garden. Not overly earthy, though. What she really smells like is time to slipper the tongue, because I will tell you, I've had 3 of these already, and I like this beer. And 6.2 at 4 and change a 6-pack. Do a hell of a lot worse. Skull. She's nice, she's clean. He's a douchebag. Nice, clean. Entire soft palate, entire intradental zone. The tongue. Nothing extra, nothing buccal, nothing sublingual. She's fast, but again, it's a lager. She's a little sweeter than I usually like in a lager. Hawks up. Pretty birds. And I mean the hawk, Harris hawk. Well, they're not super pretty, but I'm just overly impressed with raptors, and as long as they're eating pigeons, they are my birds. So again, entire soft palate, entire intradental zone, tongue, burns fast right into the back of the throat. In the back of the throat, she's clean and dry. Again, there's a sweetness note in there, and if I had to 1 to 10, the amount of sweetness on here, we're like 1 is none, and 10 is whatever the hell something super sweet is, like candy or something. Probably about a 3. It's in there. The inside of the teeth have dried out. They're chalk-like. The tongue is still wet. I can still taste it a little bit as it fades out. Overall, you can't really ask for much more, and especially at $4 a 6-pack. Again, I was thinking this was going to be more like Foxhead or Ballantine or Black Label or Rheingold beers that I should probably take a look at if I could ever find them again. But, you know, those were the cheap beers I drank as a kid. That was when I drank to get drunk. It's a really good cheap beer. Again, I can't find any toxicity reports on it, which is nice. It's owned by a pair of Indians, a brother and a sister, and you're like, dude, what do Indians know about beer? Well, the Indians were overrun by the English for how long? And what do the English like to do? So we did Taj Mahal a couple of years ago, and that was absolute trash. That was quite literally flavored embalming fluid. It was horrible. This is not. I'm going to assume that when they bought the company, they also got the brewmeister and the recipes, and it shows. I'd never been to Trader Joe's before. I didn't know what the hell it was, and then I walked in there and I'm like, oh my god, it's hippie freaking wonderland, man. When you see like 70-year-old men with long gray hair and tie-dyed shirts and ponytails and man buns and stuff, you're like, okay. As you can tell, I completely blend. But that being said, beer's good. I have a bottle of their, I think it's a Belgian spiced ale we'll take a look at. I think Big Bird caught somebody because all the pigeons are all over the place, man. They are running for cover. I have a bottle of a spiced Belgian inside that we'll take a look at. See if that's any good. If it's out of the same brewery, I'm going to assume it is, because They did a great job on this, other than the color, which is kind of freaky, but doesn't say they add caramel for the color, so is what it is. I would give this beer, well, let's just do the standard breakdown. Would I buy this beer again? Yeah, especially for the price. Would I order this beer on tap? If I ever go to visit their brew house, I will. But you've met me, and if I go to anybody's brew house, I'm going to try everything you have on tap. So, but yeah, definitely I would order this on tap. Would I buy it again? Yes. Would I drink it on tap? Yes. If you handed this to me out of the cooler, what would I say? I would say, thank you, sir. May I have another? Number-wise, she's nice. She's tasty. She's a good solid beer. 4 1/4, man. Definitely 4 1/4. Notice I left the tiniest amount of slizzard in the bottom. Yes, I know, puppies, I know. So that I can really toast you out of here. Thanks for coming by. Spending some of your precious time with me. I appreciate it. Always want you to be the big three. I want you healthy, I want you happy, I want you safe. We all need to be honorable, dutiful, and vigilant. Times are only getting more crazy. And again, low and slow under the radar, be the gray man. Keep your situational awareness up, check your 6. Squizzy. And be aware of your surroundings. Hot and handy. They're going to be real They're going to be real helpful coming up, so. My people, love you, man. Skol. What do they say in India? Pip pip? Cheers? Damned if I know. Adios.